It is said that Pele heard drumming from her home on Hawaii Island and made her way here in search of the source. That's when she became enchanted by Lohi. In this episode of Hawaii's Most Haunted, we visit the cool green lands of Kauai's North Shore.
Beyond the cool waters and trade winds of our idealistic paradise is the thin veil which separates our world from the place where the shadows talk back. Welcome to Hawaii's Most Haunted.
In Haena, there is a cave filled with water that, when the sun is in just the right position, turns a beautiful bright blue. It sounds quite enchanting, however. Events surrounding the cave are much more frightening than those of fairy tales. The cave is called Waiakapalae, or Waiakapalae, meaning water of the lace fern, which was commonly seen growing in the area. The usual brownish cast of the water is said to be from the hair of a beautiful mo'o, who would sit near the entrance of the cave, combing her long hair. Ages ago, an ali'i from Wainiha fell in love with the mo'o, and the pair disappeared. Several months later, the mo'o wahine reappeared, nursing a baby at her breast. When the people asked where the ali'i was, the mo'o drew a finger across her neck, indicating the ali'i was dead. In outrage, the ali'i followers tried to kill the mo'o, but she dove into the water and escaped. For this reason, the cave became more commonly known as Waiakapalae, water of terror, and quite a terror it can be. In more recent years, several people have drowned in this cave, and several more barely made it out alive. High above the wet caves of Haena was Napali Oahi o Makana, the cliffs of Makana, where fire was hurled forth. As the sun made its way down toward the horizon, men would climb sheer cliffs over 1,100 feet high to the peak of the mountain, called Pu'umakana, for the Oahi ceremony. They carried with them hundreds of hau, or papala sticks about 8 or 10 feet long and 2 or 3 inches wide. The core of these sticks were soft and burned before the outer layers, which made them perfect for this display. When the last ribbons of sunlight finally faded, the men would hurl the burning sticks off the cliff, one by one. These ahi'o hau, or firebrands, would first fall a bit, and then, under the right conditions of wind, rise as the breezes carried them slowly out to the sea, sometimes up to a mile out. All the way down, the firebrands would leave an impressive trail of glowing embers. For hours this would go on, until the men's supply of hau and papala sticks was gone. This spectacle drew large crowds that would gather on the Haena flat below the peak to watch the display of bravery and beauty. The boy named No always dreamed of throwing the ahi'o hau. He begged the older men to allow him to come with them, but they told him he was too young and too small. A mischievous child, he once followed the firebrand throwers up the cliffs, but being so small, he was left far behind in the darkness. As luck would have it, he came across a Menehune who had slipped on the edge of a sheer drop and gotten his foot stuck under a rock. No pulled him up and moved the rock so the Menehune could be freed. In return for saving his life, the Menehune promised No that he would become a champion in throwing the ahi'o hau. He made his way to the peak of Makana, where he found a group of angry men waiting for him. He begged for them to give him just one chance, and they agreed. However, they warned him, if your throw is not impressive, and your ahi'o hau does not go farther than our own, we will toss you off this cliff ourselves for troubling us. Desperate to prove himself, No took his first burning stick and threw it as hard as he could. Immediately, the stick began to fall straight down the side of the mountain, but then the Menehune puffed and blew the firebrand far out to sea. It was a magnificent throw, and No won the prize offered by the ali'i. However, the other firebrand throwers killed No in a fit of jealousy. Saddened, the Menehune stole No's body and placed it in a cave, and sat at the entrance to protect the bones of his friend. He sat so long that the sun came up and he turned to stone. If you know where to look, you can still see the Menehune guarding the entrance to the cave so that no one is able to pass and defile the bones of his friend. No. The picturesque beach of Lumaha'i is well known for its beauty and its dangerous riptides. Numerous drownings occur there every year. Nonetheless, residents and visitors alike brave the long, steep hike down the shore in search of the perfect beach day. Lumaha'i is also known amongst the locals for its legends. In 1940, journalist George Mellon took a trip to Kauai and interviewed a Wainiha resident. His name was Moses Alohikea. He shared his experience with the Nightmarchers. The most common description of the Nightmarchers legend can come from any person who's lived in Hawaii for several years. They are a group of warriors marching in death in a haunted procession. Their announcement strikes fear into the hearts of those who bear witness and comes in several forms. The sound of the pu, or conch shell, the pounding of distant drums getting closer, the music of the nose flute, the sound of stomping feet, a line of torchlights traveling along a path. One might even feel the earth shake or catch the scent of sulfur. Some have said that they witnessed a column of mist moving across the land. If you are in their way, you should run. If it is too late for you to run, you must lay prone and cover your head. Shut your eyes tight, chant your lineage, and pray that an ancestor walks among the dead to speak for you. Moses stated that in the late 1920s, he was returning from Honolulu in his car around midnight. He began to cross the mouth of a valley and heard the steady beat of the pahu and the stomping feet of 1,000 men. Moses said that the air was warm and smelled of men. With chicken skin going up his back, he knew it was the night marching ghost army of Lumaha'i. Moses then said he would have been killed if he had been walking, but he explained that he meant no harm and that his vehicle would not hurt them, so he was allowed to pass through safely. He stated that he also heard women walking because they make a different sound. He made it through the crowd, happy to get out alive.